Could there be like a Kohomua return, maybe?
I know that's something that people had wanted for many, many years. Like, I mean, our second album was back in 2005. We worked like on a few tracks in those previous the years after. Tano had came up with some really good originals. Yeah, super mean lovers rock vibes, and I think I only came up with one. But yeah, we kind of went like mess around, do some recordings, and then just life, happened.
What's up, everybody? This is Curtis Pooley here, bringing you your Real Talk Maui podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm here with my cousin, Brad.
What's up, everybody?
Real fortunate to have you on the podcast. Super talented musician out of Maui, born and raised. And yeah, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Brother David Bailey, a.k.a. Bailey Man.
Yes, yeah, blessed to be here.
Yes, sir.
Bro, thank you for coming, bro.
Yeah, mahalo for having me, my
bro.
Automatics, privilege, bro, to have all the musicians, especially you, bro.
Exactly.
Bringing on the hammers,
It's a pleasure to be here from watching as a viewer and now getting to sit here with the brothers.
Yep. Shout out to him, man, because he's one of our, number one supporters, bro. Hitting us up.
Yes. Thank you for that, bro. Real kind.
If I just knew my password for be able to leave comments, I would leave comments wide. Every time I click it says enter password.
Like, ooh, no.
I didn't even know that.
That's tough.
We're gonna have to remake it again.
YouTube, no need log in. Just let them comment, man. Anonymously.
No, but bro, other than that, what you been up to? What you up to?
Just working, doing the Ohana thing, and and finally in the past years, finally getting back in with music. But yeah, in the daytime, I play electrician, and then and then at a home chef at home, and so usually after work, I'm like, okay, I gotta get home. During work, I'm thinking, okay, what I make you for dinner?
I was just okay, what kind of meals we making, bro? What we get? Hamburger steak kind of?
All kind hamburger steak and like stuff like the easy kind, like tuna patties. I don't know if you guys ever eat that, but stuff that I remember growing up too. But all my kids, I noticed they love soups. So my daughter, one thing that I started making a couple years ago is like kimchi soup. And I first had that on Molokai. I went to play music over there, and I was with my friend, Alboy Kuehu guys. They're Ohana.
Shout out, Alboy.
The Horners, I was at their house, cousin Kamaile guys, and somebody made like one killer. I seen a massive pot. I was like, what is in there? There's like, kimchi soup. I was like, kimchi soup sounds good. And they was like, super easy. You throw one whole pork butt inside, and you dump one whole bottle of the Costco kimchi, and you just pressure cook them. I was like, that's it. There's like, we don't season them, just the seasoning from the kimchi. So I started I was like craving that for years, and then finally I didn't try them, but I make it with oxtail. And then I throw like half the bottle kimchi in, and then because the thing will get all soft, we pressure cook them, and then when I throw the rest.
Keep that hardness.
My daughter and my daughter more so, that's one of her favorites. She calls it cream cheese soup. When I ask her what you like eat, she's like, cream cheese soup. And I was like, cream cheese soup. Okay.
You already know.
Well, right on rice.
I usually got it. Only until recent, I'm trying to watch the carb intake. But
got it, man.
It's one of those you can just eat straight up too. You know what I mean?
But I usually just, when my kids eat, then I'm like, still get it, like the rice, then I'll eat theirs. Like, I gotta eat them because I work hard to get this rice.
Exactly.
Nobody wasting rice in this house.
Right on, man. But before we even get into it, though, I like just ask you a more personal one. Your dreads, bro. How long you was growing that? And how long is it, man?
20 years, and pretty much down about to my ankle, or like right above my ankle. So
20 years, huh?
Yeah, my oldest son Noah Zion, he was right before he turned 1. And at one point I was all into like the cornrows, so I would always braid my hair, and then but I always loved like dreadlocks. Every time I would see people with dreads, I would always stare and be like, that's so cool. And then like just naturally being in reggae music. I even felt more drawn to it. I was like, oh, how cool would it be to like I remember my uncle Kalani Nakoa, who kind of was one of my inspirations growing up with music. He would like he wrote this one song, and he was kind of about like his he would say, my dreads are flying, you know, like in the wind, and he's like, I always wanted dreadlocks. And then, you know, just like I remember every time we would go fishing and he would like jam the song, and I was like, oh, you know, I like do dreads. So it was funny. I braided my hair for our last Kohomua album, and then the very next day I took the braids out, and then I lock them up, and was cute little like Vienna sausage size dreadlocks. And like I remember I was kind of shamed for showing, because to me I just wanted them to be long, you know. And I never would ever wear them like out. Like I always would wear on beanie and cover them up for like years and years. And then there's only like 2 photos I know of. Get one at my son's birthday, we in the pool, so I get them down. And then other than that, just the music video for Unconditionally, there's like a couple clips that I don't have a beanie on. So, you know, from time to time I'll watch it, or like my kids like watch them, and we watch them, and they're like, wow, daddy, your dreads used to be short like that. I was like, you see, they never was always long. They was like, wow, you know, like, and like, it's kind of cool. I'm stoked that there's that documentation, because other than that, I never appreciated it. But now I look back, I was like, I should have just rock them, you know.
Because that's cool with your kids, because now all they know you with that dread. So if you ever no more of them, it's like,
even my oldest boy, like, so he was 1, now he's 20. So that's how I judge the locks, like the age. I'm like, okay, he's 20. I had him 20 years. But even him, he's like, he sees photos of when right prior to that, and he's like, oh, Dad, wow, I never seen you without dreads. And like, you know, I get couple. Before, I would always cut my hair like, you know, short, like side comb kind, you know, and like he just trip out like, oh, wow, Dad, I never could picture you like without dreadlocks. And like, wow, it's kind of weird, you know. You look at the picture, it's like, oh, kind of weird.
You look like a total different. I mean, even me, like when I see you with the dreadlocks right now, I cannot picture you without dreadlocks. You know, kind of like, bro, that is just you, bro. That is all one, right?
Everybody asks like, when you gonna cut them? I was like, that's a good question. I got close a few times. Like when my great grandpa passed, like I felt like I at that moment I felt like, oh, I gotta like start new. I was like almost pushed, and I remember I was standing in the bathroom with the buzzer and looking at myself, and the buzzer was on, and I remember like raising them up. Then I was like, like, wait, maybe I should think about them a little bit more. So I turned it off, and then I thought about them. I was like, wait, you know what, like, I don't have to shave it. I was like, but I tell everybody, I was like, when the thing touched the ground, I might trim them a little bit.
Because that's like, remind me of like Damien Jr. Gong, man. That's the only one that get all the way to the ankles.
Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, when I see his down, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I almost,
You saw the video of him
in the backpack. I copied one time. I think I was playing paintball. And like, cause like usually it sticks out past my shirt and then get you know, like rubber leaves stuck inside. So one of the other times I went, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do what he did and put him inside the backpack. And,
you play paintball often?
No, I haven't. But like,
or used to?
We went like several times for like my oldest boy's birthday. And any good fun.
I went there like twice.
I went there maybe like 2 or 3 times too, and. So good fun.
I get all into it, but then halfway through, my mask is fogging up because I still bleeding on your hand.
But I get the same issue. I still like sticking my hand inside, try to like windshield wiper.
Right. Exactly. Right.
All of a sudden, you take me, bro.
And only funny because I use like sometimes like one time I had my hair up in on bun and I think I still still hiding behind that stuff, you know, but the buns, they're sticking up.
They catch you.
I still like, as soon as I go for puck my head up, I get blasted like right in the head. And like I remember like feel like I get so into it, like I feel like I in war. And when the paintball and like when went pop on my head, but I felt like that was my head popping. And I remember like falling down, and I was like, oh, like I checked. I was like, bro, I gotta check like multiple times if it was blood, and I only see pink. And I was like, I remember like looking over at my friend Kavika. I was like, I was out of ammo. I was like, Hawaiian, I need ammo. Like, you know, like, throw me some ammo. Like, you know, I was feeling like, bro, you get in the zone.
Yeah, you love that, like Saving Private Ryan action. Cause we saying war, boys.
Yeah. Me, I take them serious. Guys wouldn't, like, you know, you shoot somebody and they don't like go out.
Yeah.
Me, I say like psyche, like
calling them out.
I got you, man. Get out. Like, I take them all seriously,
bro. One time, cause we was playing, and you know how back when with the trees and stuff in the bus, back in like one spot where you can like, cause like get on chair, like on lookout, like on almost like on blind. But you just stand right there.
See all the angles.
Bro, see everybody. Just you see everybody hiding behind all the barrels and stuff.
I love that spot.
Good fun.
I love that spot.
Is it still going after the fires or?
So I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure I've seen people. You know, I don't know. Maybe not.
But we should go on there.
Yeah. It is good fun, man.
Coming at you live. Just dodging shots.
Yeah.
Nah, it's good fun though. I mean, you work up a nice sweat, but good fun.
Yeah. The next day, limping a little bit.
You get the welts too, depending on where you get hit.
Then just get all the pukas from the chickens. That's why, like, I had some twisted ankles and
running the kind down.
I seen somebody, bro, like kind of like Bado was ready. Like,
he just rolled.
Like kind of like bouncing, waiting for the buzzer go off. Cause take 2 steps, hit one rock, bro, everything fall gun.
Paintballs out, bro.
Everything.
Bro, you're we gotta walk off.
Yeah,
that's definitely good fun.
Good fun. Yeah,
good times, man.
But even I mean, good times on Maui. Like what got you kind of into? I know you said your uncle was kind of one of your inspirations.
Yeah,
but was there like a song I know he worked on a song with you guys, but there's like another song that he sang that you were like, I like do stuff like that, like I like vibe like that.
Yeah, so for me, definitely like my papa's ohana, the nakoas. Everybody, like as a child, we would always go down to my auntie Weenie's house down Pi'ihana and Uncle Gordon, Cockett, and like Uncle Herman was saying, like his papa, which is like my great grandpa, they had nakoas catering, and all our family parties down there would be like the best,
all
like,
catered food, like
the meanest Hawaiian food, and all our ohana would be there to prep for it, like the days to come, like whether it was like doing the imu or cutting all the tomatoes, but all my family was like, I swear every auntie and uncle could sing or play. I remember like my auntie guys, like the elders sitting around the table, and I always like was drawn to music, so we would always be raging and playing like all the cousins, having the meanest hide and go seek, like because they had a big arena and big place, so you could just hide all kind of places.
Right.
I would always like take one break from them, and I would just like kind of chill on the side and watch all my aunties and my uncles like just taking turns passing the ukulele around, and they would just kani kapila, and my papa, when he was little, he would always sit my sister and I on his lap, and one song that we loved that he would always sing was Lady of Waihole.
Okay.
Classic.
So I always remember that, like sitting on his lap, and unfortunately, when I was like 5th grade, he had fallen off a ladder at home and got paralyzed. But I remember, when he was in the hospital, we would always go visit him. And I remember he was like, told me that one of his guitars was going to be mine when he's like, oh, my guitar going to be yours. And he had a hard time talking because he was paralyzed from the neck down. So it would be almost like whispering. And I just remember being like, oh, I like make him proud. And I like, up until then, I was trying to like mess around with the ukulele. And then my uncle Kalani, Nakoa, his son, was I always would watch him jam too, and they used to have a band called Hawaiian Blood back in the day, and I just remember always watching him jam. And then we would go ulua fishing, and he would take his uke and he would just jam them like all like as we would be like driving in, he would be like steering with his knee, and then he's like jamming, you know.
Yeah,
like
it was the radio.
The long straightaways, he would jam them. And I remember we would sing all the Ka'au Cradle Boys songs.
Yeah.
And then, my grandma bought me one ukulele, and then at Waihe'e school, I remember just like taking an ukulele class and being able to play a little bit. But then from there on, from like 6th grade on, was just when I was like, I really like be good at this thing. And I always loved singing. So I know as far back as I can remember, I was always singing without like an instrument. But I used to like all the oldies, like Earth Angel, and like the song from like Richie Valens, Old Donna. And like my grandma used to always buy me these like oldies like cassette tapes for my birthday, and I would like listen like 16 Candles, and so I was into like singing a lot of those oldies.
And that's back when like music was on point, man.
Right. Even for me, like good, my grandpa, he bought like the one set of DVD, like doo-wop DVDs, like part 1 through like 10 or something, and bro, like had all the live acts of all the biggest hits, you know, from Lion Sleeps Tonight to Earth Angel, like Stay, you know what I mean? Even like My Girl Action, but yeah, like
I feel like a lot of that music too inspired to the music today. Like a lot of it that we hear, it's like the lyrics, like hey, bro, you got that from the classic.
And because today, like that's the reason why I even love, because I'm a fan of music. You know what I mean? So that's like my first. Ask anybody, you know, even my cousin Cross, like we both like oldies, like you know, I don't know why there's something about it. That's just so simple but so real.
Yeah, but for sure. And then like the other music I remember being drawn to, my parents would always listen to the UB40, like Cherry Baby, I fully like vividly remember like being in the cars with my parents singing those songs, you know, like Version Girl, and just all the Cherry Baby ones, you know, like I don't know if that's Labor of Love 1 or 2, but
I remember that CD that I think it was the Guns in the Ghetto CD that I always used to have in the car when I was young, man.
We had ours was the compilation. The one where they get all their hits.
Like the best stuff.
Like UB40.
That's one. Like Breakfast in Bed. That's good, but that's one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Just because it's like the vibe of them. You know, the boy girl duet action.
Classics, man.
So mostly like family, like being around like the aunties and the uncles. Like Uncle Rick Bisson, his my Auntie Edna, his mom, and my papa, his brother and sister, along with Uncle Herman's dad.
That's right.
And I just remember watching them, like Uncle Rick and Auntie Edna, Auntie Weenie, like and all and our other auntie, Auntie Makalapua. Just everybody like could just sing, you know. Like, it was like I would just be on the side. The funniest thing was like none of them knew that I loved music, you know. And I remember like at our parties would have like not like talent show, but like all my other cousins, like they would like my auntie guys would make them come up and like either do some kind of dance or like sing one song, and like I remember my cousin Buddy Nobriga and like some of my other cousins like doing stuff, you know, like part of this show, and I was all shame on the side, all shy, so I never would be like, oh, I like sing a song and was just cool to me. Like now I think back, like, oh, that was like my hidden superpower. Nobody knew, you know. Like I was just too ashamed. And then when my uncle got married, I was still 5th grade or 6th grade, and he insisted that I sang at his wedding, and I never I was like, oh, too shame. And he would come over and we would practice, and I remember singing, and I would sing so soft. He would tell me, bro, I don't can hear you. Like you gotta project your voice. And I was like, what you mean? Like, he's like, you gotta sing from your na'au, bro. And I was like, still, you know, as a young kid, I'm like, I don't know what you mean, uncle. And he would be like if you see a friend across the street over there, you're not gonna say like, hey, hey, what's up? And he said, you're gonna yell like, hey, like that's what I mean. Like, you know, you project your voice like that. You're not yelling, but you can give them like that push. And I remember like that was like one thing I had to work on. And finally, when the wedding day came, super nervous, you know, like probably like almost not can stand, but singing I used to love this song Epili Mai. Peter Moon used to do them. But I remember my Uncle Kalani singing that at like Kohomua back in the day. Used to have like some kind of talent show, like Shower of Stars or something, you know. And I remember him singing that and just being in the crowd and just tripping and be like, wow, like, oh, I like do that. And like falling in love with that mele. And then that even more, I was like, oh, I like being like my uncle. And like, oh, I like do what he doing on the stage. And like, so that was one song I would sing all the time too. Epili Mai, as far as like Hawaiian mele. That's probably like the first one that I actually learned and knew the whole song. You know, besides like Hawaii Pono'i and the ones we would sing in school. But
so just from there, that's kind of where your music started. From that point, huh? So like even at that point, at that time when you was a kid, what was the music scene over here like, or who was the hammers that you was like kind of listening to?
Like so.
What was that? Because you're not that much older than us, but then when you was back then, like,
I just turned 34, so.
Oh, see, so like you like same age. I was gonna say you same age as me. But shoot, like, well, who was of course, get like the Ekolulaulea and
so
was it
like
the
from
slide
like
dog
how young back, like
right when you started, like so. That time when you was what, like 6 or when you sang for your uncle's wedding.
Around that time, I still was kind of like stuck on well, not really oldies. Like me, I love R&B, so I never really listened to too much like local music. Like I was more, I would like vibe out to like Boys to Men and kind of whatever my mom was. Kind of whatever my mom was listening to. So like Tony Braxton and like TLC. Like
that's funny because
TLC is they're the ones.
That's funny that you say that because I feel like same here or whatever my mom was listening to. So with like Prince,
and then she would listen to all those jams like Monica, and so it was funny. Like I think it helped me because here I am, like, you know, listening to them and then starting to love these songs too, and I think that would help me with like my range and like and listening and being able to do certain things vocally because listening to that genre and trying to sing high. And it's funny because nowadays when I hear the songs come on, I'm like, oh, I go to sing along and then I try to hit the certain parts that I would kill back in the day. You know? I was like, oh, I try them one time, like, oh yeah, never mind. I was back in like intermediate.
We hitting low notes only. We're only doing low notes.
But like, it wasn't until like high school time, I guess. I started like listening to like the more local music scene. I guess because by then I finally started like being able to play instruments. Like in EL school, I had like friends, like Ikaika Brown, my friend Jesse Tanoi, my friend Farron Alosada. Like these are people that all started. We all kind of picked up the ukulele around the same time. Kaika was probably playing from way before then because him and Uncle Kevin did do their slack key and stuff. But I remember finding out about Ka'au Creator Boys. So that was like the first local actually music group I remember, and Hawaiian style band. And I remember like hearing all the pickings. I was like, brah, like do that. And I remember it was almost like a competition that nobody really said, but between us friends, like, because every time we would jam, like, you know, somebody would do the picking, you know. And then I was like, I think I was like maybe like the worst. I wasn't as advanced as everybody, but once I found out about Ka'au Creator Boys and I got the cassette tape, I would just go home and play them over and over, like play like a couple seconds of them, stop them, find them, and within like months and like from like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I mean nailed a Ka'au Creator Boys repertoire. But I had them all down, you know. So
you was the one doing the picking.
Yeah, every time it was like we would take turns, but I always would be like, oh, I kind of wait for showing them like, oh, I can do them exactly, you know. And I remember that was like Ka'au Creator Boys was like the first local music, and even Ikaika Blackburn as well. We all classmates, so I think we all kind of slowly started developing, and like just because of May Day and stuff, you know, our kumu would like have us be on part of the celebration, so we'd go up and sing some songs, and so it's cool to see everybody like doing their thing, like Kaika Blackburn,
definitely, even you,
and bro, all the guys you mentioned is like good singers too. You know what I mean? So like, what? Did you guys used to like harmonize back then too? Like how you guys learn how to do that?
That's so funny. So we would all sing like lead. We still never know harmonies, and it's funny. That takes me back to my uncle Kalani once again. When I was I was super lucky because I grew up in town, but then also my grandparents were from Paia, so I actually grew. I every time people ask, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "Oh, well, I actually grew up in Paia and in Wai'ehu," and then but I also was lucky enough to like go school in town, and then I ended up my 8th grade year. I went to Kalama school, and was blessed because I like just like you, I remember you mentioning that you got to
plenty friends from all over.
Exactly, and when I went up to Kalama school, I met one bunch of other hammers in music, Erlin Pahukua, and my friend Kimo Niles, him and his brothers, Frankie Niles and Khalid, they used to have like their own, just them 3 brothers they had on group, and then in the later years they had Kupa'a.
Oh yeah.
And they did
like
album.
Tears on My Pillow and what else song? Come to Me, the other songs.
I kind of think I can hear the song playing in my eye, but I'm not sure of the title.
But that's Kupa. That's some pretty hammer songs.
Yeah.
And was Mr. Sorry, I don't know. Was Mr. Camarillo working at Kalama?
Yeah. And he was, and I remember
that guy's the reason I know how he even play on ukulele.
Anyway, I wanted to be in his class so bad, but when I moved to Kalama, was like midway through the first quarter, and never have room in his class. But just so happened, since I already knew like couple people, and they seen me like walking in, they was like, "Oh, you come in Kalama school? Yeah, come hang out with us." And just so happened, it was right outside his class, and we would hang out over there, and me like from 6th grade on to graduating high school, I always had one ukulele every day. I was like one of those guys that was like, "Oh, that's the guy to get the ukulele." But we would jam out there, and then one day it just so happened we was jamming some Kyle Creator Boy songs, and Mr. Camarillo would like poke his head out the door, and I remember kind of being like, a little bit caught off guard, and I was like, I thought like he wanted us to be quiet, you know. Yeah. And I remember he was like, that was you singing that song, and he was surprised, and he was like, "Why are you not in my class?" And I was like, I wanted to be, but I just been moved to Kalama and no more room in your class, and like he was so awesome that like even though I never have room, because I guess he's seen it in me, when they would do like their performances like at school, or like I was lucky enough at some of the hotels they would play at, he would let me come along, and he would feature me and let me do like 1 or 2 songs, and he would call like maybe a couple of the other brothers to like come and back me up. Like I remember Erlin, my friend Adam Wong, I remember us like jamming, and I remember them kind of being like the backup, and we would just all be playing ukulele, and I would get to do a song or two, and
shout out. Well, first of all, shout out to Mr. Camarillo, because he just retired this past year. So
I've been wanting to, like, I just had a conversation with one of my friends, and I was telling him he brought up Mr. Camarillo, and I was like, that's one person that I keep hoping to run into, and to thank him for giving me those opportunities, and because it made me confident, and like and he was like, you should reach out, and you can probably get his number. I was like, let him be more natural. I run into him, and and give thanks, and I was like, I don't know if he remember me, but I want to thank him for
everything.
I only had on my 7th grade year, and then my 8th grade year here, and moved to Kamehameha schools. So I mean, I forget the teacher. I think Miss Nakama or something. But Mr. Camarillo was over there. He like you said, he inspired so much. Of like nowadays local musicians. Like everybody went through Mr. Camarillo's class. He taught you the waltz, and then Small World or whatever the other songs.
Exactly.
Like right. Everybody know all those songs. You can already
play behind the head.
Exactly.
They still was doing that the last year, because my son just had him the year that he retired. He's still doing the behind the head play.
But I remember like watching them and like just practicing them on my own. I was like, maybe somehow like I can just be able to be in the class, which I never was, but then was just like I was making sure I was ready if I had the opportunity. But like I said, he would like bring me along and call me up and let me do my solo, and like
bruh, that's cool.
Yeah, so awesome.
Shout out Mr. Camarero.
Yeah,
exactly.
Blessings.
Yeah. How do you kind of balance, music and then working? You say you're an electrician too on the side, and then also with your family life. Like, how do you kind of balance those three things? Because I know it's hard, but especially with music, I know from experience that the late nights and coming home late, it takes a toll. But how do you kind of balance that?
So definitely thanks to my beautiful wife Selena.
Shout out.
Yep.
She that's like I call her my manager. She's my everything, but like luckily she just goes with the flow, and fortunately I don't really do too much of the late night gigging. It's mostly local parties nowadays and like weddings and so it's very rare that I'm out late for a gig, like unless I jam in at Guava Tree. Shout out Guava Tree. No more too many, no more much places you can jam. I guess get the playground but I do more of just the local, like small kind, early parties at Paul by 10 and then when I don't have gigs in, if I look at my schedule and I don't know any gigs, then I'll like squeeze in like some hotel ones here and there. So luckily, I'm usually done early, so we fit them in and and my mother-in-law, Lula Campos, thank you, shout out. Like she helps a lot too, because there's times where my wife has hula or and super last minute, like I'll pick up a gig like that day and I'll like text her like, I'm so sorry, I gotta play music tonight, like can you watch the kids, and she's a big help as well. So between my wife and her, always get somebody watching the kikis. So very very lucky with that. And I always joke around, I tell her like, when I go on tour though, you guys gonna have to stay home and like I just manifesting. I was like, I've been seeing them for like years. Like, but when I go on tour, you guys gotta stay home. So because only I can go. She was like, no way, we coming. We all coming. I was like, no can have distractions. But I was just mess around like, we come to the tour. Yeah, you have to stay home. But
life could be different.
Somebody gotta watch the kids. She's like, they're staying home too. Like, I'm coming though.
As far as your studio time though, where's your studio at? Like, where you usually record your songs at your house?
I actually I've been at one point in time I had a little home set up, and then I haven't had that for a while. But thankfully just having solid friends like Brother Lane Ikawa.
Yeah. Shout out Lane. Yeah.
This one you said Hammer House.
Yeah, you said Hammer. Yeah. Bad on the guitar.
Bro.
He's
wicked.
Yeah. Wicked. He's Brother Lean, and then even Brother Bubs.
Automatic.
Mostly between them two, even Jaleel.
Jaleel. Automatic.
Yeah. So between those three solid brethrens, like there, even had times where I hear to the grapevine like, Bob's the studio not open, and then I was like, for real? I was like, I missed the boat, because every time he would see me, he'd be like, Bailey man, you gotta come back. We gotta finish that track we ain't started. We gotta make something. And but I never, I always was like, I gotta make time. But it was funny because I remember running into him at Pook Soup, and somebody was like, hey, bro, I wonder if we'll come into the studio and try work on something. He's like, bro, the studio's still shut down. And then I probably shouldn't say, but they ended up going, and then he was like, bro, Billy man, we started talking. He was like, bro, you gotta check out the studio. Right after he told the other brother, still shut down. He was like, come in anytime. I was like, you still going? He was like, bro, for you, bro, I set them up. He's like, everything's set up, but I just haven't been in there.
Yeah.
So having three solid brothers at that, and who, they don't even bring up money. Like, oh, you know, they're not even asking, and even if I offer, they're like, nah, no need, you know, and
they just like make mean music.
Yeah,
that's
and like I'm blessed to like have friends like that, because I know. I mean, nowadays living in Hawaii, like it's so expensive that unfortunately a lot of times things come down to the money, like, oh, what I can make, you know.
Yeah.
But luckily for them, you know, they're willing. Like every time I bring it up, and they're like, bro, come anytime, you know. And like, so recently I was lucky enough to work on a single with Lane, and same thing. I'm like, hey, let's come to, you know, find on price that so I can pay you. He's like, no. He's so much Allah. He's like, nah, no need. I was like, no, we got to, like our time is money, you know, and like we get families now.
Lane get family now.
Yeah, I said you know, that time we're away from our ohana, we don't get that back. I said, so the best thing we can get out of it, or I can give to you, is some money for, you know, be able to take your family to dinner or something. And he still is like, no, you know, and but we're gonna figure that out better later.
Yeah.
You gotta get paid, but like,
and even like talking about that, like for that. So now, you know, you get in the studio with Lane, right? You guys about to do your thing. What is is it harder for you to find chords for like songs for lyrics you already have, or like the opposite? Is it easier for you to just like, you already get on a bunch of chords, you just couldn't mumble something and hopefully when flow catch?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Your writing process?
You know, I'm still trying to figure out my writing process. But again, I felt in the years in the past, like working on the Kohomua stuff, I felt most creative like in the studio, and it's like I feel like that's like the only time I have a really good flow, or at the right time. Like there's times where I'm at work and like I get like probably like one whole album worth of rhythms from Bubs that he sent to me, and some from Jaleo. And sometimes I'll like, as I'm driving, I'll like play them and listen to them, and I'll get one good flow, and I'll come up with like good choruses. But then it's like while I'm driving, and like I cannot
write them down.
Yeah, I cannot write them down, and I cannot do the voice memo because I would have to stop the track on my phone. So I just keep singing them over and over for try to remember them. But then my issue is like I'll go to the next track and then I'll get one different idea, and then the one I just came up with like 5 minutes before that is gone already.
There's too much choices.
And I was like, oh man. But in the past, we would like go in the studio with Vern, Kapua Ala, or who used to jam with, you know, some of the hammers. Oh, in fact, I veered away from that question about the music, like who, like I would like kind of watch. But I remember Backyard, when like high school time, and Sly Dog. I remember them coming to Baldwin and playing and just tripping out watching, you know, and Ekolulaulea as well. Valley Boys when Lukela did that with Ata. Ata and Keku Delanox. Yeah, brother.
That's
Keku.
right.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. That was like one real big like motivational thing for me, because I remember meeting Lukela through one of my friends at Kalama School, Anthony Kealoha, who wasn't Hawaiian, but he looked haole, you know. But I remember jamming on the bus, and then like I was jamming, he was like, "Bro, you gotta come to my house after this. Like, I like you meet my cousin Kip, you know, they would call him. I like you meet my cousin Kip. Like, oh, you guys would jam good together, you know." And I was like, oh, shame, you know, I always was shame, and I was like, oh, I don't know. He was like, nah, yeah, you gotta come. And I remember going, and then I got to meet him, and I remember we just had a jam session in their auntie's living room, and then I never see him after that. I think it was my freshman or sophomore year. Then they released that album, and I remember I was like, oh, he got a CD now, and just like being stuck on him, and just like the Kyle Crater Boy days and the UB40, you know, learning every word, every song. And I remember, same thing, learn every song on the album, and just stoked that I got to meet him, you know, and then as the years to come, when they made Ekolu, I used to be neighbors with brother Akoni D. Lomas that played guitar. So that was one person I always looked up to growing up, because I remember he used to bomb the hill skateboarding, and he was a good bodyboarder and surfer, and that's like stuff I wanted to do. And I found out he played music too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, like, you know. And then when they made the Ekolulaulea, and I was like, oh. And then I got to meet Brother Makapu, and just all solid
shout
people.
Shout out to all the brothers.
Yeah, shout out to brothers.
One of the coolest brothers in the world,
yes,
bro. I promise.
Yeah,
bro.
And just like looking up to them, and still being in high school, and just being like, wow, like hopefully one day I get to. I remember like, oh, one day I like doing CD, like manifesting that, you know. And like back then, it seemed like it was a harder goal to accomplish, because it almost seemed like you needed to get on record deal, or you had to meet one producer. Nowadays, like you just gotta meet on computer or on iPhone, and you can go on GarageBand. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. So I was I remember like looking up to them, and I remember Kohomua was actually a band from high school time, and at one time me, Jesse Tanoe, and Ikaika Brown used to jam a lot, and then they kept doing music, and I did as well. But one little riff in our friendship wouldn't happen for a little while, where I kind of was like out of the loop, and then Kaika and Jesse still were jamming. Sorry about getting deep on the story. But you know, they would jam, and then as the next years came, then Brother Tano Haupu started jamming with them, and then they ended up starting like the band Kohomua, like in high school, and had other brothers. Had Brother Rico Manangan. He was a killer ukulele player and musician, and then our friend Matt Labajo used to play congos, and I used to basically follow them to other gigs, and Uncle Kevin would be like, hey Dave, what you doing this weekend? Like, get on gig, you like come help me with the sound. So I just would help Uncle Kevin with the sound. And same thing, I would be on the side, like just wishing, manifesting, like, I wish I could jam with them, you know. And for many years, like tagging along and just helping Uncle with the sound. And then in between that, Uncle Kevin would call me they used to jam at the Ocean Center. So I would go over there and jam with them. And I had Uncle Kevin, Ikaika, and Uncle Sheldon Brown. They would like do a trio. And they would like play like 1 hour, and then they would take one break, and he would let me and Ikaika do in 1 hour, and we would jam out of Curtis Boy ones basically. But and I remember it was awesome, because you know he would pay me, like give me some of their money. They would pay me from their pay, and it was like cool just to have a little bit money, and just for like get exposure, and I was so blessed for that opportunities, and
Kohomua, and shout out Tano, because I worked with him too. He's a cool brother, speaking of Kohomua though, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was Uncle Shane or it was Kanoa, but somebody, when I asked the question like who was on Maui band that you would want that is no longer together to get back together, and somebody said was
being
Kohomua.
That I'm a Real Talk Maui fan. It was Brother Kanoa.
Brother Kanoa, because he said that out of all the bands he wanted Kohomua.
I was like, wow, it was cool to be watching it. To hear that, I was like, yes, I wish I was there right now for telling him, hey, I'm about to
thank you.
So with that being said, I know you guys been jamming some shows too, like Lady Small Kind, but is there like maybe an album that could be, and with Kohomua, but I know you get your singles and stuff, but could there be like a Kohomua return maybe?
I know that's something that people had wanted for many years. Like I mean, our second album was back in 2005, and we would always talk about them, and we worked like on a few tracks in those previous the years after, with our bass player Kayaman, Better Kaya Arakawa, and
shout out,
Tano had came up with some really good originals. Super mean lovers rock vibes, and I think I only came up with one, but we kind of went like mess around, do some recordings, and then just life happened. Like all of us started having more kids, and next thing you know, we kind of like kind of drifted away from that. So I know people like I posted a couple like of our practice videos that I took with my iPhone back in the day, which I'm happy that I got, because like that's all we get nowadays is whatever video or picture we get, and I posted them, and then every now and then I would read the comments and people would be like, oh, when we can get this on an album, or like oh, when is the next album, or like oh, we're waiting for the next album. But I've just been so busy with life. I mean, all these years I've been wanting to record and work on music, but I just couldn't find the balance, like you were saying, like balancing the family time. And
it's tough, man.
So that was one of my biggest excuses, I can say, to like not like go to the studio, because it's like, oh, I gotta go work in a day and I gotta come home and leave my family. And then I was like, and I don't ever make time to sit down and write lyrics. Like I was saying, like the Kohomua projects, like we would go in the studio and just listen to the rhythm like over and over and over, and with the notepads, and we would all be like just like almost helping each other write songs. I would sing one line, I'd be like, and then Tano or Vern would be like, oh, that's good, write that down, write them down, sing another line, like, oh, that's good too. They'd be like, oh wait, maybe take out this word. But that was when I was most creative. And the funny thing was the first album went that way. Then the second album, I actually two of the songs, like I kind of like was almost like when freestyle, like listening to the rhythm.
What was that the next chapter? No.
Yeah, the next chapter.
The new chapter.
New chapter or next.
That
chapter.
Album.
So I one of my originals used to be better. We just had the beat, and then just one day we went in and I just started kind of I remember Vernon played a track and I came in. Things used to be better. And then I don't know, somehow it came. I was going through some rough times in my relationship at that time, and that was like like the first line was like, oh, things used to be better, and somehow I just like had so much on my mind, and that I just didn't let them flow. And I remember like Vern is like sitting in the front of me with his headphones on, and he's like puffing his head, like keep going, and somehow I kept going, and that song was all never have one word written down, and and it was basically one take, one take, and then we almost never even redo like vocals again, like because I was like, oh, I don't know if I can capture that emotion again. That was like specific to that day, that time. But then so all I did was I took out a couple words and then like change a couple words around. But other than that was strictly just on the spot. And then the second song that I wrote for my son, Noah's Lullaby, 7 minute, 10-second song of pure raw emotion and feeling. But that one as well, never have one word written down. And I still remember to this day going in the studio, and our time was winding down. Like I knew that Vern was awesome. He gave us like it wasn't like your average like studio agreement. It was like he gave us one base price and was like we had unlimited hours in the studio, but
however long it takes.
We had a deadline, like okay, but by this month we gotta be Paul, So we'd go in, like be there from early afternoon till like late in the night, like to the early mornings, But that one night, we'd turn off the lights. I had a lamp. We'd like put one little sheet over them, dim the lights, and we was using one closet. We recorded that album in Waiahu Records practice studio where we would all practice.
That was the one by Hotspot.
The best spot. And we was set up in the closet, and I remember just closing my eyes and listening to the beat, and then the first feeling I had was just like we, and
style,
I just came out, and I was like, oh, I just kept going, and and then as I was singing that, I was like just trying to process what I was going through, and then and once again I was Keokua and just blessed me, and the lyrics just came the funniest thing though was like 7 minutes and 10 seconds, and
but just raw emotion.
Yeah, like I was telling Vern, like, I don't know, like what should I take out? And he was like, man, I think you should leave them how it is, like, because that's what you felt, and that's
raw.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, the radio, not gonna play them because too long, but I think you should leave them how it is. And I did, and I'm happy that I did. And it's funny, I heard it on the radio a handful of times, but they only play like halfway through, and then they'll manually fade it out. But I was like, oh wow, they didn't play them, you know. And like, that's my most creative moments is like in the studio.
Because I was gonna say that's like, I mean, that album, you guys had some major kind of hits, like, you know, Be Mine, Unconditionally, you know, Used to Be Better was a good one. The Billy Brown song. Raja Man, a keyboarder, wrote that song. I was gonna ask you if that was like an oldie that you guys redid, or that was all originals, that whole album.
Most originals. I think we did 2 covers. I did Dream-A-Lie from UB40. We I think both albums we like wanted to like pay tribute to UB40 because we love that band. All of us, you know, grew up with like loving
exactly.
that.
Man, Dream-A-Lie is like my favorite song from that. I was just telling you too, I was listening to him before you came. I was like, this one, man, because just the way how like even that's like, is that the saxophone that comes in the beginning? It's how like that kind of comes in with the beat, like, you know, how that thing is riding. Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, and I just was not like, bro, I was all blind one day, like like when that thing came out. And I remember hearing the Dream-A-Lie part in the background of like the verses, and I always thought like, man, that's nuts, like how you saying 2 different things at once, 2 like all different words, but this fucking sound like flowing good. You know what I mean? Like, I was always tripping out on that, but because I never heard the UB40 version. I only heard your version, so I was like, man, that song is mean.
I never heard that song too until like shortly before we decided to do that song. Like my other childhood friend, Big Das, Kuehu, our boys. Shout out Meta Das.
Is he on Molokai?
He's back and forth.
Okay. Shout out, I saw him driving in Lahaina, CDL slightly.
So he was just telling me that. So he was like, I was telling him like, like doing on UB40 song, but I cannot decide which song. And he was like, bro, you ever heard the song Dream-A-Lie? I was like, no, what song is that? That he played for me, and he was like, Molokai, bro, we love this jam. And then I remember listening to him, I was like, and like you said too, with the background like parts, I was like, mean, like how the background and like, and I was like, I remember vibing. I was like, I think this is one that not too many people heard. Like I never listened to that song, so that kind of made me gravitate to him, because I was like, this is not one that everybody knows.
You cannot bust on red wine. You know? Like there's something that sounds mean, but
So I think on the that second album, I think we had 2 covers. We did Human Nature, the Michael Jackson one, and then I did Dream-A-Lie. I feel like Tanaman did one cover as well, but I'm not too sure. Maybe it might have been just those 2. But like that was a good vibe. I remember plenty of people even telling us like, that thing remind me of UB40, you know. We was blessed to like have horns. One of Tano's songs called Only Love. I would say that's my favorite one. Like the horns is like mean, and just like the vibe of them, I really was stoked what that album came out to be. I was like, blew me away, you know. And I remember us stressing like, man, it has to be as good as the first one, if not better, you know. And I was stoked about that. So to answer your question about like future works, that's a really good question, because like I was saying, hard to find time. And like even for me to work on this single with Lane, it only happened because Lane is one hammer, you know, like Brother Bob's and Jaleel, like they can play multiple instruments. So I actually told Lane, because he sent me tracks and we to like work on original stuff, but in the meantime I told him, I was like, man, I always wanted to do one album called Lovers Covers, and it's just supposed to be just like my favorite. This is something Tano and I talked about like back like when Kohomua was still going like real busy. I remember telling him, bro, we should do one album called Lovers Covers and do like all our favorite like old school lovers from like rock, the 80s, lovers rock, like because like being close with like Spence Jaw guys and then like a bunch of us was like loved reggae music and started looking deeper for like the old stuff, you know. And then through just friends we find all these like old school stuff, and which a lot of our set list was like a lot of those old songs from the 80s. So like choke people would think like we wrote the song and be like, no, this is like an old song from like UK from the 80s. And I'll tell them who, and they'd be like, oh, no way. And like, and so I was like, yeah, we should do a project like that. So when I was talking to Lean, every time I'd be like, wow, we gotta work on one song. And then I told him, hey, why you'd be down for work on one cover project, and then in between working on those covers, I'll slide in one original here and there, but just to like get my feet wet again and get my foot back in the door and start to like build momentum. I was like, yeah, if we can work on this cover project. He was like, bah, anything you like do. So I sent him one list of like maybe like 6 to 8 songs that I wanted to do. So I think it was like the next day or by that afternoon, he texted me like, oh, here's one sample of the rhythm. And I was like, what? Like I was all excited. Like, oh, I play him. I was like, oh, like, you know, like, and I called him. I was like, brah. I was like, oh, brah, thank you for working on. He was like, working on that track. And he was like, brah, I remember you singing this song, like, when we would do Be Mine, I was kind of similar beat or chord progression. So I would do that song, Could You? And he was like, yeah, I remember always, like, we would be playing on stage, and then he would like lean over. He'd be like, "Oh, could you?" I'd be like, "Yeah, automatically." And I would do the song. So he was like, "Yeah, I like that song." So when I seen that song on the list, I was like, "Oh, I gotta work on this one now." So yeah, by the end of the week, he had like first he sent the rough track, and then he then I did like one rough vocals on GarageBand, sent them back to him, and then around my vocals, he would do the final instrument tracks, and then you went in for record the so vocals. I never have to go to the studio. Only when we did the vocals, we didn't go down to Sugar Pea Studios by the Kamalani. He didn't hook us up, and we went over there for a couple hours and laid the vocals. Speaking of that, so your single "Could You" it's gonna be dropping soon. So before the end of the month. Promote a little bit about that. Or
definitely before it drops.
So that will be the first track off of the Lovers Covers album, and super excited. Lean and I.
How much tracks? Down?
You know, I don't know the final total yet. I think I might still be adding. And I'm still working on the other ones too. But I was just I just was so excited because I mean I never work on my own music or a project of my own since 2005 or I mean I've worked on stuff with Innovision. I was blessed to be a part of Innovision.
Shout out Cole.
Respect.
Still holding it down, man. OG.
Since Innovision was born in 05. Our first gig.
Good to see Ben too. Ben Gali jamming back with them too. So
shout out. Besides like doing little stuff here and there with Innovision, I linked up with Brother Marty Dredd. I don't know what year it was, but for a good amount of years, that's the only virgin that I would work on music with, and I would do background vocals for Brother Marty. I was blessed to like have the opportunity, and I'm sure we would still be linked up if he had my new number. The next time I see him, we gotta link again. But so and he would always tell me like, bro, when are you gonna work on something for you? I was like, I know, pretty soon, you know. And now I don't know, it's probably over 10 years later, but I was excited to get to do them. So luckily I finally finished it in May, but only now in November I finally speaking about releasing them. So for sure before the end of the month we're gonna release that, and And yeah, super excited to get the ball rolling and the momentum on that on this project. Like I said, even though it's a cover project, I was talking with some other friends, and I was like kind of like downing. Like I mean, just I was like, I don't know, it's a cover project, and I was lucky enough to play alongside Justin Kavika Young. Well, I didn't get to play with him, but I got to do a set in between his set. That's another artist that I grew up like idolizing like in high school, and just so happened the coordinator called me and was like, "Oh, you wanna jam a set in between Justin's set tonight?" And I was like, I like text her back. I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Justin Young." She was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, you didn't even know." I was like, that was like my idol. And I was like, I was part of my high school years. I was known. If nobody knew who I was, they knew that I was the guy that sang all the Justin songs.
Even the jet plane one.
Bruh, that was one of the main ones.
Yeah, it's cool.
But bruh, to this day, I still jam that song.
Bro, right? Yeah. I tell everybody, bro, listening to that song, because you know how I get the opening at like Hawaiian Airlines, leaving, all that stuff. Bro, I was going to college, okay, like, told my mom to buy
over and over.
Bro, I just get them in my headphones.
Automatic.
But that song is mean, and he is
classic.
He's a solid Hawaiian local artist.
Yes, but I was so happy to get to meet him, and I remember she would link us up by text, and like just like how I told you, I seen you at Costco, and I wanted to come say what's up, but I was like, I don't like be weird,
bro.
Like
not even.
I was like attached by the text message to him, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like just reach out to him, whatever. If you guys want to coordinate, like or talk about maybe doing a set together." And I was like, "Oh, should I?" Like I know I type out a couple of things. I was like, delete. And then in the end, I never reach out, until I got there. And then I was trying to like play it cool, but and at one point in the night, I told him, I was like, "Bruh, I just gotta tell you that, bruh, you are like my idol, and like I used to listen to all your songs and like play all your songs." I said, and in high school, I got to be known like musically more than I already was. By playing your song. He had his
he must have been like, oh,
the
that's
first
cool,
song was the 1 Year Together one. I don't know if you guys remember that song. But I remember that song came out, and then had just so happened like when the Christmas break was coming up, and then Uncle Kevin guys was like, "Oh, you guys should jam." It was kind of like on talent show, people could do whatever they like, and I think part of being in Uncle Kevin's class, he made him kind of like, "Oh, you gotta perform," So me and Ikaiko in jam, and then I in jam Moloka'i Slide, and then the second song was just so happened like one of my friends was like, "Oh, I love this song from Justin. Like, oh, you gotta learn this song and jam them." And then just so happened I like about the nights before I like record them off the radio, and then I just was like listening to them, and I learn them good enough, and I jam them, and I remember like just the feeling, because everybody in the auditorium at Boston was just psyching, and I just remember like tripping out that people was like screaming, just loving it, and I was like, and I remember from that day on, like in the hallways and stuff, and like all the upperclassmen was like, "Oh, hey David, like, oh, like you got a good voice," so just complimenting me and having aloha, towards me, and I was like, it was just awesome to like. I felt like, oh, I don't gotta like everybody, I cool with everybody, like like you and like freshmen, you always thinking like, oh, I hope like nobody make trouble to me, something and I just remember feeling like welcomed, everybody made me feel welcome, and I told Justin like, because of your song and me jamming them, that got me through high school, like
got me to respect,
with good vibes and like and it was just cool. But I was telling him that I finally releasing, going to work on an album, but it's a cover album, and I was kind of downplaying him, and he was like, don't think because it's cover songs that it's nothing to be proud of. He was like, he said, you do the covers is important. He was like, because the covers is gonna be what you know, is familiar to people, gonna get heads turning. And then when you slide in the original one, you know, and then that's, you know, from just them hearing something familiar, they may like go to your music site, and then from there, like, oh, they say like, oh, what is this other song? Click on them, and he said, bro, it's just gonna be a snowball effect. And because of him like telling me that, when give me the like that confidence boost, is like, oh, okay, you know what, even though this one cover project, like, I not gotta be like not hyped about them. So I just felt better after.
And even like working on them, like you bring home a couple of like mixes and you show your kids that I use them as judges, like, hey, which song you guys like? Which song good? You like this one? Okay, you like that one?
So exactly, like every morning after taking my kids to school, I would play like the newest version, you know. And it was funny because I haven't played it for a while, because I just wanted to. I never like get tired of them, so I never play them for a couple months, and then but when I played it again, my daughter was like, and it's funny because now they get them stuck in their head, you know. They know a lot of the words, they know the chorus for sure, and but they stuck on like the scratch vocals I did, because like when I was singing the chorus, could you, like going out, I never know when the track was gonna stop. So like at the last part I was singing could you, I said like could, I mean go to sing could you again, but the music would stop, so I was like could, and I stopped, and the thing had like they just thought it was funny, but they liked that version. So when I made the new one that faded out, they was like, oh,
what happened to the could?
Wait, how come it's different? I was like, oh, the other one was the scratch vocals, like that's like the practice one. They're like, oh, we liked how it was. I was like, what you mean? Daddy did them the same. She's like, no, you remember the part at the end? And I was like, the mistake that Daddy made. And my daughter's like, yeah, like, oh, I like it like that. I was like, wait, why you like? I was like, no, it cannot be like that. And like, I just would play them the other day, and she was like, Daddy, is this the one with the ending that I like? I was like, no, Daddy, no, but definitely. I was like trying to feel them out, like, oh, you think it's good, and
they don't realize, bro.
For sure.
They're gonna tell you like it is.
And like you know, and I played for Selena as well, and then I'm kind of like looking at her, like trying to see. I was like, what, good junk? Like, she's like, hey, like she's just good at like not like, for me, you know, I'm expecting like it's mean, like, you know, but she's like pretty good, like she's like, oh yeah, it's good. I was like good or like, you know, like,
I need more than that.
And I was like, what, should I redo it, or like should I take out this song, or like, she's like, no, it's good, like, you know. But
but it with the KK too, like, what did they have did they like, oh Dad, why you can sing this song or sing that song, like they're from like your old albums or just songs you do when you guys stay at home?
Well, for a while,
the most request one, I guess.
The most request one in their younger years. Every time we would like go holo somewhere, I'd be like, oh, what you guys like listen to? They would always yell, "Be Mine," you know, and I was like, "No, besides Be Mine." For a while, like that was like every time I would ask, like, "What you guys like listen to?" You know, they would yell out "Be Mine," and it was like cool to me that, you know, I was like that felt like the best payoff was like the fact that they wanted to hear them, and when I do it and they're there, like I see them singing them, you know, and like they're like excited about it.
They're gonna live with them forever.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Forever, they're gonna have that memory of their dad, and that's
definitely.
So definitely. I'm looking forward to getting that finally released, and
for sure, and if you follow us, we're probably gonna post them whenever you do drop them. So
just for the support.
Of course.
Yeah. But moving on to November 30th, the Ekolulaulea.
Yes, sir.
You guys gonna be jamming at that? You jamming as Kohomua or as David? Oh, okay.
Kohomua. Yeah.
So by the time I'm gonna be jamming with you guys.
Together.
Yeah. So it's almost the original. Well, I guess I cannot say original, because we had some changes from the beginning of Kohomua, but from the last album, we're gonna be pretty close. We just don't have our drummer, brother Calvin Kanha. Calvi Dread.
Yeah. Busy man.
Yeah. So going to be Brother Kana Pikini from Hammer House.
Oh, yeah.
He can
Shout out Brother Kana.
Yes, I respect.
So not a kind, so not Bradley.
And guarantee you know all your music, so that's easy transition.
One speed.
And he's played drums for us back prior to COVID when we kind of was picking it up, and because of Ekolu, they had like CD release stuff they was doing, so they would always reach out to give us the opportunity to play, open up for them. So we kind of did a couple gigs, and then people from then on, people was calling like, we can get you for play. We seen you playing over here. You can play for this. So I kind of entertained the ideas like, I guess we can do them, and find the time to like balance them and get them in. And then and then COVID happened, and we kind of just went like totally stopped because nobody knew how serious it was, and we was like, maybe we should social distance for now until we know more. And so we kind of took that break off, and in the meantime, our other drummer, Brother Jimmy Kui, used to play with Chala, and super solid drummer, and was super solid brother. But he even moved to the mainland, and then so it was like, we no more drummer again. So it was like, I guess we just gotta cruise him, and then so at the concert gonna be Kanaman on the drums, and then we're gonna have our brother Jason Pokipala. He gonna make an appearance again on the guitar, on the gits. Like he was also a member of Innovision, and he's hasn't played for a really long time. And I was surprised to hear that when Tano Manu texted me, I was like, hey boy, who's like jamming in the band? Because I was curious about the guitar, because I was like, is it because Lane has played with us too in the more recent years, and I was like, if any of them cannot make them, then I'm going to have to bust up my guitar, because at one point in time I used to play guitar, and then later on I was like, let's like focus on singing. So we brought Brother Poki in, and which I always wanted because he's a mean, I always loved his style of playing. And so Brother Poki is back on the guitar, and then Kayaman on the bass, and Rajaman on the keys, and then get Tano, Konane, Pokipala, and myself on the vocals again. So
what time you guys going on?
We go on at 8 o'clock to 8:45.
My wife gonna be there.
We try to go too. That's as long as
she told me she got an extra ticket, and I'm there like cause it's like I saw the lineup. I was like,
almost like a trip down memory lane.
For real.
But I guarantee you have some the older crowd, bro.
And it's gonna be the first time I'm ever gonna see Barakana play the drums, because him, every time I see him, he's on the bass, man.
He slammed that. He's good on the drums,
bro. He's smooth.
So that should be on.
I'm excited. Opihi Pickers, Malino, Hammer House, Pohaku, Hiawatha.
I never see Hiawatha yet.
First I just seen whatever's on YouTube, since that's where I live is on YouTube. But it should be awesome. Looking forward. I haven't been able to link up for any of the rehearsals recently. With life we're so busy. Like my wife, she hula is her thing and one of her passions, and she's always in the back seat like to my music, so there's like 2 times a year that I can show my support for her. And every year their halau Keku Okala au Ala Iliahi, they get on concert that they do. So, and it's coming up December 7th. So right now is I think for a while they've been doing like 2 practices a week. So this is one of the moments where I can be extra supportive, and on the Mondays and Wednesdays. So and then Merry Monarch time is another time where they're busy, and I just gotta put on my big boy pants and be the best dad I can be and the best husband. So I never get to like link up with any of with the band for the rehearsals yet. So yeah, hoping in the next weeks I can actually.
As long as you get one in.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, it's funny because you're saying like balancing ohana and work and music. It's kind of a blessing, but at the same time, it's not. But like, so I've been doing plenty solo stuff, just trying to follow in Barakanoa's footsteps as far as the looping thing. So I still have a lot to learn.
He's a master.
So I play solo and I do that stuff, and then whenever I do play with the band, I'm fortunate to get to jam with Hammer House as like backing me up. But the one blessing but downfall at the same time is we don't ever practice. I always joke around, like when we meet up for a gig, I always laugh and joke like, oh yeah, so we paid practice. You know, like somebody paying us for practice at their paina, you know, like, and it's funny because we do a lot of the songs that we've all jammed from, you know, probably high school to like now, like old songs, new songs, and then every now and then, like I'll try, like the week of, I'll like text them on text, like with maybe like 4 or 5 like new songs that we never did, but we've all probably played at one point in our life, you know. But I text them like, oh, maybe just giving you guys a heads up, maybe we try this song or that song, you know. But no biggie if you know get familiar with them, we don't need to do them. But like on the spot at the gig, I'll be like, yeah, well, you guys had no chance for listening to that. And usually half of them did, and the other half was like, oh no, like, and then we're like singing the bass line to like, the bass is like boom, 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 you know, and like right on the spot on the stage, like, like
trying to figure them out.
I was just gonna say, like, talking about you know, all the gig stories that do you have any funny ones that you kind of always go back to, like, bro, I remember this one time I was doing this guy was doing that, and we said trying to sing this song and everybody playing the wrong key. You know what I mean? Yeah. You get any stories of that you can go back to? I've been trying
not to get carried away because, bro, I get so much funny stories, bro. Like, like, I mean, just going to that one's like on the spot. Like for me, I grew up playing by ear, and that is also like one blessing but one curse, because I can play with anybody. Like, you know, it maybe within a minute or so many seconds, I'll figure out the keys and I can play. But then when I play with other bands that like I never played with, that's why I kind of don't really on the spot just go up and jam with people where they're like, oh, come up jam, or like nah good, and sometimes I feel like, oh, I hope they don't think I better, or you know, being stuck up. But I really scared about when they're gonna ask, oh, what chord you doing, man? Because I don't know. Like to this day, bro, like I mean, I'm slowly figuring out, like, okay, I do this song in F, but like, bro, like I'll play sometimes with Hammer House, and then I'll call out one song we never jam in a while, and they're like, oh, what chord is down? And bam, like panic mode. I'm like, check. And like usually I look like, and I know one guitar in my hand, so I cannot strum for sure them. So I totally rely on Lane. I look at Lane, I'm like, brother Lane, hey, what? Like he's really organized, so he'll take notes as he's playing and he'll write down the chords. So if anybody would know, it's him, you know. So I'm like, I'm so sorry, brother Lane, but what chord is this song? And he'd like tell them, you know, and like, so that's one funny moment where on the spot I'm like, oh, I don't know the key, you know, and like, but there's many, but like so many moments, like just like I remember playing with our original drummer, brother Kaipo Kaina with Kohomua, who just taught himself basically in the backyard of Uncle Kevin Brown's house. Like we bought one drum set and he would listen to the radio and play. But I remember we would be jamming and you know, he would be playing and like and I'm sure almost every drummer had this happen, but you stay in the middle of playing and the stick go flying, you know, you're like, oh, now you only get one stick and you still try to like hit the snare and the hi-hat, you know, and like, just so many moments. Like, I mean, I remember even being, doing one show in Oregon. In fact, P. Ilani came with us that time.
Shout out about it.
We can go play at I think was what is the Beavers, Oregon State or
Oregon State?
Yeah, so we can go play for their luau. And we was lucky enough for getting invited for that, and I remember that whole experience was just super good fun. P. Ilani was taking us around, like, because he went college up there, so took us to places, you know, that we never even experienced. But I just remember at that time, you know, I was drinking, but I remember all of us, we was like, oh, on vacation, you know, it was like, always made sure we had cases of beer, and everywhere we went, it was like, I remember, and I was being a little bit immature, but I was just like nonstop shotgunning beers. Like we was cruising, you know, and by the time I got to the college to play, I was pretty drunk, but not uncontrollably, but but like I remember being on stage and bro, we just like vibing super good, like everybody's like up there, you know, buzzing, like they all like had plenty beers for drink. But I just remember like playing my guitar, and I was just doing the stupidest dances, like just like, and I knew never looked cool, but like I just was like on a different level. I never cared what I looked like. And I was like making like the guitar was on horse, and I was like galloping, doing some real like stupid, like not cool at all, you know. But
still a funny gig story.
But music was still good though. Music was still on point.
Yeah, we were still on point. But like
that kind of stuff.
I remember like the next days, and I was like, I hope nobody has documentation of that, bro. Like, that cannot get out.
You know. All of a sudden the video gonna pop up.
Back in that years was good fun, because I think that was our first album, and when we would go gig off Island plenty, the people that we would bring, like we would try represent Maui, you know. So we would bring Brother Shane, Hawaiian Homeboy, P. Ilani, and then Brother Erlin, because Kupa'a's album came out around that same time. So we would bring, like, if we would like every now and then we would bring them three, and then we would like have one little like Maui lineup. Like we would open them up, then we would call up Hawaiian Homeboy. He would do like a couple songs, and then we would call up P. Ilani, call up Erlin, and then, you know, it was just cherry for come with one wave of Maui
representing, bro. Representing.
Yeah, that was what, like, a lot of like good highlight and memories that I have of like Maui just representing.
Shout out to all the Maui musicians out there, bro.
Big love and respect. Yes,
for sure.
Wow, that was good fun, bro.
But like you said, shout out to all the musicians, especially you, bro. Brother David.
And thank you so much for being on tonight with us, talking story with us. You know, blessings, bro.
Mahalo for making my manifestation come true.
Yes, cool.
For sure, And then let us know about your music. You know, your new music. You can tag us, and we can repost, bro. You know, the social media, man. We never have that back.
Yeah, that's the tool right there.
Now a little bit easier for promote, for sure, man.
Yes.
Look out for that, guys. And then also what you call November 30th.
November 30th. Ekolulaulea. Come in hot.
Let's go, Maui. Let's roll up.
Yep. Kohomua gonna be coming in jamming. So
yes,
all of you that wanted to see them, here we go.
Let's go.
Yes.
I'm not too sure how much the tickets.
So, I don't know. Maui should know. She don't tell me that kind of stuff.
Check it. Check the post.
Check the post.
Well, whatever the price is, just spend them. You only live once.
Because if you see the poster, you see the lineup. Easy choice.
Yes.
Easy choice. But November 30th, guys.
Key hit charter. Be there.
Yeah. Raja. Well, Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Automatic, bro. Real talk, Maui. Yes, sir. We out.